Hi, I'm Dede Wilson, and I'm going to show you how to make bacon oatmeal raisin cookies. These are featured in the March 2012 issue of Bon Appetit, and they were created by Autumn Martin of Hotcakes Confections. For my full interview with Autumn, you can go to my site, dedewilson.com, but here in the video, I'm going to show you how to make her amazing cookies. The bacon is salty and savory, and the raisins and the dark brown sugar is sweet, and the combination is fabulous. They're going to be crispy all around the edges and a little soft in the center, and let's get going. So the first thing is the flour. We're just going to combine our dry ingredients. The recipe actually calls for cake flour. We've got flour, and I've got my leavener and my salt, and we're just going to mix that together and set it aside so our dry mix is ready. I also have my bacon cooked. I cut it into small pieces first, sauteed it in a pan until crisp, drained it on a paper towel, and I'm going to toss it with my oats and raisins. These three things are going to be folded in at the end, so now they're ready for us to go as well. So we'll get our butter creaming. We've got unsalted butter in our mixer at room temperature, so it's nice and soft. Combination of granulated sugar and dark brown sugar. Autumn said she likes the dark brown. The extra molasses is not only going to add a depth of flavor, but it's going to add a moisture to the cookie. And you can see that, of course, appropriately, the brown sugar was packed. It was packed in the correct size measuring cup, and so that's why it's actually still holding its shape. Granulated and brown sugar is going to go right in. There's a lot of sugar in the batter, so at this point it will look fairly granular. We're going to add our eggs one at a time, large eggs. And you beat them after each addition so that they become incorporated. And our vanilla. This is great. It's creamed together. The mixture has lightened. It's creamy. All of the sugar, the butter, the eggs has all come together. So now we're ready for our dry mixture. Flour is going to go in with our leavener and salt. I'm going to do it in 2 batches. Just get the sides, scrape it down a little bit. Of course, you could do this with a handheld mixer if that's what you have. And we're going to beat this until it just comes together, and then we're going to fold in the oats, the bacon, and the raisins. As with any recipe where you're using dried fruit, it may sound contradictory, but your dried fruit should be moist. In other words, raisins, moist, fresh raisins will give between your fingers. They'll still be nice and juicy. You don't want them to be hard little nuggets. All right, so I'm just going to scrape this off, get as much batter in there as possible. So far, fairly simple, traditional oatmeal cookie recipe. Of course, the nuance of using the dark brown sugar in a higher proportion than the granulated sugar is an important point. As I said, it's really going to add to the flavor as well as the moisture. So here we have the bacon, cooked crisp, dark moist raisins, and rolled oats. Let me get that all in there. In the meantime, I've been preheating my oven to 375 degrees. However, I have found, and Autumn seems to agree, that if you let your oatmeal cookies chill before you bake them, there's something that happens to the texture that just really improves. I think it has to do with the oats absorbing moisture from the other ingredients, and the resulting texture of your cookie will be that much better. So I'll show you how we're going to do this. Okay, so that is completely folded in, and we're ready to dole it out onto our cookie sheet. So our batter's ready to go. I like to use half sheet pans for my cookies. They're sturdy, they conduct heat evenly. The cookies are going to bake up the best they can be, lined with parchment. And the recipe calls for a 1/4 cup scoop or a 2-ounce scoop for each cookie. So you can either weigh it out or you can use a scoop. It's going to go in there with my scoop. And I just have them spaced out. They do spread, so you want to leave a lot of room. And the other thing that's important to note is that we're not going to flatten them. They don't need to. They will flatten on their own. Now, at this point, this is where in the recipe we recommend chilling them. And that's going to not only help the oats, as I said, absorb some of the moisture, but it's going to help the cookies retain their shape a little bit. So we're going to chill these for 2 hours. You could also wrap this with plastic wrap and chill it overnight, and then we'll bake them in our 375 oven. Our cookies are done. As I said, we didn't need to flatten them. They spread out. They're golden. You want to pull them from the oven when they're a little crisp around the edges, but still soft in the middle, because they will firm up tremendously upon cooling. There's residual heat on the cookie pan, and the cookies will continue to bake a little bit and firm up. So you don't want to overcook them. These have cooled, and they're ready to taste. Oh, look at that. Chewy on the inside. Awesome. Exactly the way we want them. Sweet and salty, that slightly chewy, almost nutty character of the oats. Really buttery, and that dark brown sugar, that hit of molasses, perfect. Here's to you, Autumn. Great recipe. You can find this recipe for bacon oatmeal raisin cookies at dedewilson.com, and it's also featured in the 2012 issue, March issue of Bon Appetit.